Hi guys, welcome to week 5. This week I'm going to walk through a poster design for a film. I am working on this poster for a film called Fix. It's a drama film about Daniel, a boy with health problems. His mother died from childbirth. His father becomes an alcoholic. We know that Daniel likes basketball, but he can't play due to his health problem. In the film, he uses a time machine to go back and save his mom, and his plan is to actually delete his own existence in the process. But the director wants to end the film on a hopeful note. So these are the things that we know, and these are the things that I'm working with. So this design with the heart over here and the Fix logo was something that was given to me. Daniel is like an engineer, smart student who can build machines. So the icon that represents him is these gears, and it also represents the time machine and the slight sci-fi aspect to the story. So that is something that we'll keep in mind while designing the poster. So next thing I put together is an inspiration board. These are some of the film posters that I really like and I think is appropriate inspiration for this project. Some of these, actually most of these, are not the main movie posters that were used for the release of the film, but they're created after by various artists. And what I like about looking at these is they all give us an opportunity to show off art as opposed to photographs. So when I'm looking at examples of posters, at I'm looking for elements that I can extract and use for my own design. So out of all of these are the things that I think are important to extract. Number one is the use of the iconic silhouette. For example, in the interview with the vampire, Tom Cruise's profile, or in the second piece, the Star Wars poster, the helmet design of the X-Wing fighter. In the third one for the Halloween is the knife. And in the fourth one, the icon is the roses. So iconic means something that is very easily recognizable. It's as simple as that. If the silhouette is cannot be clearly read, it's not iconic. It's just a silhouette. So iconic is crucial in this The next thing that I notice is the use of a bleeding design. This means that the design bleeds off of the page. What this does is it gives the piece a life that extends beyond the, the printed poster. I think that's a good element that's consistent in all these examples. For example, in the fourth poster for Mother, the roses, even the hand, one of the hand bleed off the page. In the first one, the interview with the vampire, you have Armand, and over here in the corner, with a figure that bleeds off. You have the hand that comes off the page, and even this design bleeds off the page. The second example, you get bleeds from the double exposure of the X-wing. It's here. The silhouette itself only bleeds at the bottom, but the double exposure part bleeds into the edge of the silhouette. And of course, the third one, you have the tip of the knife bleeding off of the page. And in Mother, you have roses and the hand. So the other part was prominent line art. All this means is that this is obviously a drawing. It looks like a tracing of a photo, but these are little line drawings. It just shows the art element. The second piece is hard to tell unless you take a really close look, but when you do, you'll see that it's a graphite drawing. There's a lot more tones, but the shape is very clear. The darks are very prominent as the lights are. And the Halloween posters, similar to the interview with the vampire poster, and same with the Mother poster. There's definitely inking involved. You could see this is all inking, line work. The fourth element is the simplified values. If you look at all these examples, there's a limited amount of values used. Even in the second poster of the X-Wing fighter, he's very conservative with the using more than 3 values. There's a light value, a dark value, and a midtone. This forces us to make decisions, uh, design decisions which will make the art more apparent also. And of course, lastly but not least, these are all limited palette in color. Actually, the first three are monotonic, and I pulled these because initially I thought the drama needed to be accentuated with a monotonic or just one color to show that it is kind of a downer movie. But when I spoke to the director more later on, I learned that she wanted to end it on a more positive note. So my idea changed from being a monotonic piece to perhaps being closer to the fourth example for color, where it's limited color, just to show some sense of hope. It just looks a little bit more happy. So these are the things that I extract from my reference. So the next stage is thumbnails. I did 3 thumbnails, and you can do these any way that you want, that you're comfortable with at the moment. We've been doing studies, composition studies in the previous weeks, and you can definitely sketch things out that way. You can Photobash, which is just photo collaging things together in Photoshop or whatever image editor software that you use, which is my first thumbnail here. The photo of the actor was given to me by the director. It was from the behind the scenes photographer, and the gears was something I found on Google Images, and I just superimposed it onto the photo. This is just my quick way of coming up with this idea, and I made a fade, a light fade in the center, because my idea is that he feels like he's fading, or that in rescuing his mother and his father from alcoholism, that he was willing to sacrifice himself. So I put a subtle light fade in the center. In the second thumbnail, my idea was to use a collage idea, like a classic Drew Struzan poster, like the Indiana Jones and the Star Wars poster, where there's multiple story moments collaged together. So the parents are on top. It's a drama film. You immediately get that sense. The bottom left corner is a boy watching other kids play basketball, longing because he can't play. And on the right side, it's the main character, Daniel, about to use the time machine. So these are 3 story elements collaged together. That was one idea. And lastly, the third idea was to use a prominent icon, which is the gear, cogs, and then superimpose different scenes within the shape. And I like this idea the best. I think it sells the interesting part of the film, the mechanics of time travel, the sci-fi aspect, more than the other two. The first one, it looks a little steampunk for some reason, and it's focused on the main character too much. I think the other characters play a big role, so I wanted to include them into the poster. And this was a great way to use the icon. It was combining both the first and the second ideas into one design package that look nice. The story happens, a part of the story happens during Christmas, New Year, so that's why you see a Christmas tree in there. The photo of the couple hugging, I just googled hugging or something like that. So that's a random photo, not of the actors, but I'm not gonna be using their likeness, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just extracting the pose. And so in the third example, in the last gear, you notice I put in the moment where Daniel's watching the other kids play basketball. And uh, in the fourth iteration, sorry, I a lot of the story happens in their house. I feel like the house is a character, so that's why I put it there, replacing Daniel playing or trying to watch kids play basketball. I actually kind of like the house better because the overall contrast. We already see Daniel on the top part, so this would give it good variety, and this is what I'm gonna go with. And this brings us to references. So for references, I had to dig for some of my own references. I got the names of the actors who were gonna be in the film. I searched the internet using their name and came up with some pictures from Google. Some are from their social media, Facebook, Instagram. Some of them had videos on YouTube, which for the female, for the actress, I screen capped an image from a YouTube video. It just happened to be in the very similar, almost exact pose that I wanted to draw. I just screen capped it, saved it, and that was my reference. And the time machine was given to me by the director. The gear was found on Google Images. Just Google search gear, click on images, and that is all of the references. The house also came from the film crew. The photo of Daniel the boy was from the behind the scenes. It was a blurry photo, but it doesn't matter because I'm gonna draw it. So this is just a starting point, really. And when I grab references, I try to find the closest reference to the pose and the angles that I chose in the thumbnail that I wanted to take to a finish. All this stuff takes a while to do. So for this week, I want you guys to do all four of these things. Is to first choose your project. You could choose a film that is already out and create an alternate poster. You can make a poster for a film that's coming out or a film that you would like to become a film. Or you could do a poster for a TV show, kind of like the Kim's Convenience posters I posted. Pick your favorite TV show. Or you could do a concert poster or a band poster. That's also a fun idea. But define your project. Write down a few things that your project is about, kind of like the list that I made here for fix film, because these are the things that we want to communicate in the poster, so we have a goal to work towards. And then find some inspiration art, extract elements that you want to use in your own work, and you could use the same elements that I put here. That's perfectly fine. If you find other elements that you want to utilate, other elements that you want to use, that's perfectly as good. And next, do 3 thumbnails. Choose one thumbnail that you like the best and do an iteration, kind of like how number 4 is an iteration of number 3 in my example. It's not a huge iteration, but I think it did make the overall poster better, more interesting, because there's more variety. And lastly, gather your references. If you're making a film, think about who you would cast, and based on your thumbnails, try to find reference photos that match the angle, so that you don't have to work too hard to invent and rotate the head. Sure, you could do that, but we're going for quickness. So find the closest thing that you can to the angle. The lighting we could add on our own, but we just want the angle for the reference to be like what we thumbnailed. that's it for this first part. Next, I will talk about how to put these together. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm gonna walk you through my poster creation process. So what I did was downloaded a bunch of images of gears and just import it into my canvas and just place them where I thought would look good. And this was my first idea. After looking at it, I didn't really like it because there was no bleed. I wanted to design the bleed off the page. That was one of the elements I had extracted from my reference, so that was not used. Instead, I arranged them more like this, and purposely it is kind of a triangular shape with the top being the base, so there is a weight that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. This is on purpose because it's a drama and I want it to feel like it's in motion and it's going somewhere. It's not a right side up triangle that is stable. So these were put together in the same way. They're all in different layers. I'm using Clip Studio Paint, but you can use Photoshop, it's all the same. And all of these are on separate layers. I put them all in one folder so I can turn the visibility on and off. And I duplicate this folder and because I don't want to mess with this shapes just in case. I want to go back to a starting point. That's why this is a separate folder. The next step is the Photobash. Photobash is here. I'll show you piece by piece. This is my reference for Daniel. My reference for the kids playing basketball. And the time machine, I warped it to make it look like it's going away from us. Here's the random photo of a couple hugging, which I'm only going to be using for the pose. A photo of Daniel I got from the film crew. There's a Christmas tree on Google Images, and I'm not sure why I put this tree top here, but it's there. Maybe it's for the color of. Maybe it's for color. So what I do is put all these together and let's see here. The title is on a separate layer, and let me just what you can do is you can select one of the layers of the gears and go to layer, merge visible to new layer. What that'll do is you merge all those different layers into one layer. See, now all the gears are one layer. And what you do is with your references, when you paste them in, what I do is this. What I do is I turn the opacity down on the shapes, just so I can see where the outlines are. And I'm gonna put the background back. I made the background like a creamy color, so that's on another layer, on a background layer. And this is where I start posting or pasting in the images one by one like this. And you can turn the opacity down to see how they fit onto the shape one by one. Right, so this is everything. And what I do is merge all these photo layers into one layer, and that gives me this one. I'm gonna turn the opacity down so you can see both the outline of the gears and how they fit into there. So the next thing that you could do is just clip this layer to your shape layer, which is this button right here. You could do it in Photoshop also. I'm gonna turn the opacity up. It looks like this. And actually what I'll do is fill in all these white shapes. Because I want the image to be right there. Okay, there's my shape. Here's my Photobash, clip to my shape. So the clip buttons right here says clip at layer below. And you can see I painted some of the background out here just to see how it would look. So that's the Photobash. This stage always looks weird because you have different photo references, and they're all different color, different lighting, but no worries. What I did next is a rough of the poster. Let me just go down the list here. Okay, so I decided to use the house. So here's the version with the house instead of Daniel playing or watching the kids play basketball. I desaturated the Photobash because I'm going to use my own limited color palette. This is the house. Okay, this is an adjustment layer called threshold. So what you do, you use this to help you see the shapes a little bit better, increase contrast, to make things look more graphic. It's a tool. What you do is up here in layer, where is it? Threshold. Where's this? Layer, new correction layer, posterization. I guess I started this in Photoshop. It's interesting going back and forth between Photoshop and Clip Studio. But anyways, in Photoshop it's called threshold, and in Clip Studio it's called posterization. Yeah, okay. So you don't have to do that. Next I put a colored layer to make it look sepia tone. It's just filled with like a raw sienna color. It's just a layer on top set to multiply, just so I can harmonize everything together and start to see it. This is like my first idea of making it monotonic. Okay, I just wanted to see what it would look like, just to begin a mood and unifying the references. Okay, so what I did was I just traced the outline of the gears, and I started tracing the photo and drawing a bit, making decisions about where to use straight lines, where to use curved lines, thinking about how to design each mark that I make, where to make it complex, where to keep things simple. And you can see the reference is really blurry, but this is the drawing part of it, and this is the rough stage, just to get a feel of where to begin. And of course I'm gonna in the next week I'm gonna paste my reference into this pose, because we're not using this reference photo, just using for the position. But I think, let's see, oh yes, let's show this. Okay, boxes. Like I said, part of the story happens around Christmas, New Year, and if you remember one of the references, let me pull it up. One of the inspiration pieces has little ornamental elements, like these flowers right here that float, and the petals. It's a nice ornament that softens the edge of the silhouette a little bit. Some of it's outside, some of it breaks the border of the silhouette, and some is inside. That's a nice element to it. And in the Halloween poster also, it might be the same artist. So over here they used the leaves. Pretty cool. Even here in the mother posters, there's some rose petals, some loose rose petals, and these drippy wet parts from the roses, I guess. But anyways, that's my idea of using these gift boxes. And these circles, I think maybe ornaments. I will probably turn them into ornaments. So we have gift boxes, ornaments. These are things that will soften the edge. So I have some on the inside of the silhouette, some overlapping, and some on the outside. And in the bottom here, I have the movie logo. So actually, let's do this. I'll show you how I place images. Let's open a picture of the actress. Okay. So go to this tool, marquee, or lasso tool. I'm just gonna lasso actress here. Copy it. See, edit copy. I'm gonna go over here. And let's paste it here. Move it over here. Zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn the opacity down so I can kind of match the position. And then Control T is transform. Look at that. Don't be afraid to use Photoshop. Oh, look how good that matches. Bam, done. Beautiful. Okay. Clean it up a little bit. Zoom out to see what I'm looking at here. Yep, and so what I do is clip that to there. That's my reference. Okay, turn the opacity down because this is how I do the line art on top. Okay, just gonna merge this. And let's place the guy. Okay, let's try this. Okay, he's right here. He's behind her, okay. Turn the opacity down. Get a little closer. Different angle. But let's see if it works. Behind her. Nope, I'm not gonna do that. No, I don't think this is gonna work because this is the same scene. We're looking down at her and we're looking up at him. That means that yeah, it's just the perspective is weird. Let's not use this. Let's get rid of this. Probably safer to use the more straightforward pose. This one. It's like a headshot. Whoops. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Right there. Tilt it a little bit. Make sure the scale is good. the reason why I chose this pose out of a bunch of other hugging poses is that in this particular one, it seems like the guy is more emotional, more vulnerable, and the wife is the stronger character. I think this matches the story well. That's why I chose this hugging photo instead of others. Just gonna delete that. Delete some extras. Okay. Let's zoom out and look. His head is a little big. I want to turn it a little bit more, make it a little smaller. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good size. Okay, so I want her hand to still be in there. Let's do this. Just gonna select her arm. Hand, okay. Like that. And I'm gonna take it out of his face, just delete. I'm gonna redraw this hand right here. That's fine. Yeah, this is good. So I'm just gonna merge it with this. Clip it. Actually, what I'm gonna do is let's do it. Layer, correction layer, level. Clip the level there, and I'm gonna make this a little less contrasty by dragging the black over and the white in. And I'm gonna make this a little darker by dragging the middle towards the right. There. See, the contrast is a little bit less stark. Then I will merge, or I will clip it to my reference layer. Just merge it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna merge the house too. I like to keep it as simple as possible. Yep. So there it is. So what I'll do later is figure out what to do in these little areas of transition. Like here. What do I do here? Okay. These are areas of transition. They might be just like blurred edges, soft edges. Just blend the tones in. For now. This hand I might put right here. And I'm just selecting colors from the reference. Okay, paint those in. And that's pretty much how I place my reference. Let me just make a copy of this and I'm gonna desaturate this layer, correction layer, saturation, take it down, make that black and white. back to the shape. That looks pretty good. Anyways, yeah, we'll figure out how to make the transitions later. But this is it. It's harmonious. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this down, and the next step is to finish the line art on top on its own separate layer. And we're one step closer, pretty much. Oops, let's do this. I'm gonna make this sky. There's a blending tool here. Soften the edges. Like that. Okay, paint in the shadows. Soften it a little bit. Okay. Put the sepia tone back on. Clip it back. That's pretty much it. I placed the art, and then the next thing would just to be go in here, do this line art. And the reason I like Clip Studio is that their line drawing tools are much better in Photoshop without using any plugins. Wait, let's pay attention here. So with Photoshop, if you don't have Clip Studio, you just use a plugin called Lazy Nezumi. But what it does is it smoothens out your line and makes it look a little better, smoother. But with the Clip Studio, it's built in, so my lines are pretty smooth, and that's why a lot of people like Clip Studio for line art. Okay. So when we're doing these types of things, it's very good to know the foundation, which is why we did portraiture before, because otherwise some of the stuff is not really visible in the reference. Not in a good way. But if we know foundation, then we can put it together. Like knowing where the lips end. The perspective where, because we're looking from above, we'll see less of the top lip, more of the bottom lip. So a lot of this is knowing how to reconstruct correctly. And if you didn't know foundations, there's no way you could really do it and make it look right. So I'm not just copying the photo, I am making some design decisions. I wonder if that's cool. It's kind of cool. Oops, I want that dot there. Okay. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, so this is rough stuff. I'm not gonna follow this lighting just yet, but I think I do want top lighting. It's very dramatic. So what you do is, wait, hold on. What you could do is just turn off the reference and look at your image. Turn off the reference and look at your image, and that is the moment of truth. Does it look good? Sometimes it doesn't, you need to fix it. Looks okay. So for his head, okay, put our hands in. Hair. Alright. just a quick pass, okay? Not gonna go too crazy here. Okay, we're just drawing over flat reference, but we need to think three-dimensional. Pupil, highlight. Okay, filling in blacks. Eyes are kind of important, so it's a good idea to slow down a little bit. Okay. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere. Change his expression in a little bit, but it's a good start. Okay. Okay, turn off the photo. Take a look. That's kind of important. It looked a little weird. Thicken these up a little bit. Whatever's in front, you can thicken a little bit. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, that's a pretty good start. Okay, might as well do the house, I guess. Okay, so the house, just use the line tool. On technical things, it's good just to use the line tool. Whoa. Watch it there. All along lines. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, I think that's all the long lines. Okay. close enough. Pretty good. Turn that off, on, off, and then the last thing is this right here. Sorry guys, there's not a whole lot of notes here. rulers, use rulers. Okay. Okay, something like this works. Like this. Year, day, okay. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. I think it looks good. Yeah, we're done for this week. This is the rough. Next week, I'll go over how to finish it. But this week, I think we're good. Bam, so there it is. Rough line art and poster design. Thanks for watching, guys.